Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
I told you my very first experience. I went with that energy and I knew this was something very serious. Little did I know that it was just, you see a dummy, eh? The Baganda call it gorogos, eh? Something which is controlled somewhere. And you are seeing a human being, but you believe it is a human being. But actually there is no human being in that thing. So, Honorable Dombo, respectfully, he should also acknowledge that I did not say that NRM has done nothing for the last 20 years. I've been in the house. The only point he's making is that I have left, and but I have not left politics. That one he should know. So even when I am here, I'm doing my part to say this is becoming an NRM, another, you have been added another term, and you want to see your manifesto being implemented. As you are calling our NRM MPs, are you discussing with them the cost of that manifesto? He was waiving it. The cost of that manifesto. He's saying they are calling regions. Are they going to add anything in that manifesto? Are they going to relate that manifesto? Will it be called anymore a manifesto or something else? Something else.
Aren't you judging them too early?
No. And the president has made it very clear that there is going to be a constitutional crisis if they will have an attempt to change, to change what he's proposed. I am even afraid that those taxes he's talking about, they may end up having their own way. You remember we had a tax, an unpopular tax on mobile money. We tried to fight it. It worked for 1 year, and later on they realized it would not work. Then they had to readjust it. I am afraid even what he's telling the Ugandans, that the president has said this is very bad. This is very bad. We know he talks for the public. Then when it comes to real things, he does other things.
Okay. In the 2021 orientation, the president hinted on close to what he said just there.
Yes, he said, I'm going to fight corruption.
No, he said, I can do away with that parliament. I remember he once said something close to that, didn't he?
But he has little choice because he also wants to be known as a Democrat. So he would want to see the operation of 3 arms of government, the legislature, where we sit as parliament. But his wish, he would not want to have parliament. That's why he's sitting there, such that he's having a puppet of a parliament. That for me, it is my strong conviction that President Museveni is in Chankwanzi to build cohesion and coercion. For his grip on political power, and 2, for the other thing of succession. And that's why he's deeply interested in the speakership. That's why he can't pronounce himself when he's there. When he's there, he wants to have a speaker that will do his thing, not a speaker who will do the thing for Ugandans.
Honorable Katuntu, do you imagine, given the tone of the president over the past couple of days, there will be a vibrant 12th parliament, or there will be an intimidated 12th parliament?
I think I have a judicious mind. I don't want to prejudge anybody. Intimidated or a body parliament, we need to give them an opportunity, a benefit of doubt, as they say. These are younger people. Some of them were educated. And I think, let's see, what do you say in the Bible? By their fruits, you will see them. So to me, let's give them an opportunity. And then first of all, they'll have to account. And, time General Muntu used to tell us is the best judge. So it would be unfair to judge these people before they even sit.
Yeah, but how much benefit of
finished.
doubt would you give them, given the foundation?
There is no foundation we at this point to judge them. Let's this guy is swearing. Let's see how they work, and then we can judge them. Because you see, I say when we were there, we are the last kings of Scotland. No, let these people, we will judge them. And then society gets the leaders it deserves. If they are so bad, then that's what we deserve, because 80% of them were elected. 20% could have used an orthodox means of getting into that house, but 80 were re-elected. Benefit of doubt.
Yeah, but the president comes with warnings like, it will be tough if you oppose anything that comes from me.
You engage
Isn't
him.
he cowing them?
You engage him. You see, the president has his own ideas, but the Constitution has said there's a people's representative institution which has got to engage with the executive. And in some of these, for example, all the bills come from the executive. They go to the committees, and the committees are supposed to put an input, change them. But the president wants his bills to be passed as they are. It is up to Parliament to improve them. It is up to Parliament to say, sir, you are proposing this, but we think this is in the best interest of the country. I'll give you an example. One of the most controversial pieces of legislation, me and Tinker here, we are very active, the oil and the gas legislations. We sat, and to me, that is the best law I have ever contributed to. Gerard was there. For a whole week, we are sitting up to midnight, 1 a.m., together with Mr. Kalisa, who was the permanent secretary, and the minister, and so on, to change it. We lost out on clause 9, you remember?
It was clause
9.
8 and 9.
Which gave the minister authority to license. But the rest, we made our input, and it literally changed everything. So it is up to these members of parliament, the new ones, say, Mr. President, on this one, we think we have a different view. And if you stand by it and you have logic, you explain, sometimes he concedes.
Yeah, but there's been a notion that the current parliament has caved into the executive. Is there a likelihood that this 12th parliament will stand their ground to check the executive?
Give them a benefit of doubt. Let's see what they do.
Can they succeed where you failed?
Yes, it's possible.
Why did you fail?
It is possible. Or maybe we're not good enough, we couldn't convince. So this is a new parliament, and that's why 58% of the current parliament hasn't come back. Because you people thought these are going to be better members of parliament.
You know, Professor, where I have a problem is that this 58% or 60% you're talking about went to Chankwanzi for an induction. And ordinarily, when you're inducting people, you are telling them this is how the job is done best.
Yes.
And at the turn of events, those that you thought are scoring 40%, you are scoring 40%, you are getting out with 40%. Do you come and chest stamp, we have done a good job? That's where I have a problem.
Thank you. Honorable Pair.
And the government has not fallen, has not gone to the opposition. You get me? And that's why whereas you dismissed me, Senior Adombo, just eat your money and relax. You also know that you are dismissing the views of Honorable Tinka Simile Barnabas, but you know the truth. The reality in Chankwanzi is to rehearse, to maintain that President Museveni continues to be a head of state and subsequently succeeded by his son and have his way in parliament. That is the narrative. And that is what is being achieved as we speak. So these other things, please, whether we talk what, we are just I would not want us to confuse Ugandans. Ugandans have better things to do outside there. They can go and sleep other than listening to what we are
We'll
discussing.
certainly get back to Honorable Dombo in a few, but Honorable Peya, you went through Chankwanzi. Do you imagine MPs learn anything, or it's just some feasting and getting to know each other? Because when you look at the quality of debate on the floor of Parliament, you would hardly believe that these were inducted MPs.
Thank you. I think we need to appreciate that Parliament, like any other institution, is not homogeneous. Not every member of Parliament will perform at the same level of Honorable Katuntu, for example. When I went to Parliament, the things of the Constitution, the law, they are the lawyers who could do that. So I think the level of participation of members of Parliament, but also the learning, it is, how do I call it? I wouldn't say that I didn't learn anything or those people are not learning anything. Personally, I learned a lot during that retreat. One of the things that stood out for me in that retreat, I remember, we were talking about, there was an issue of how do we reduce the cost of running business. And at that time, there was issue of rationalization. This bill came to Parliament. And because of that understanding that I'd got from that retreat, I remember participating almost really 100% in that particular bill because I'd already got a prior understanding. Then I remember again, there was that issue of ambulances. How can we, discuss how to finance medical referrals in that retreat. And when we came to Parliament, and I was sitting in the budget committee, then I remember that, then that was a time that we would engage, I engaged personally the Ministry of Health, asking questions. We were told that we are going to budget and get money for ambulances. Thank God the ambulances came, although it was not enough, but somehow it came. So I think, as my colleagues are saying, retreats like this has its pros and cons, right?
Thank you. Honorable
Mr. Chair, yes. You see the world all over, you will not have 100% MPs very active.
Yeah.
You always have between 20 to 30% which who drive the House. Yeah. And we are in a very difficult situation as a country. You have 530
something?
529.
29, yeah.
There is no way you have 529 members of Parliament to be that active as you would want. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Even on that floor, I have just, my committee amended the rules, and I grappled with one issue. How do I have all the
members of the committee
debate and have an opportunity by rules? It was not possible. This Parliament is just too big, just too big. So what you would need, if you can have 50% members of Parliament, leadership of committees, people who are very active, who can help their colleagues.
And understand the issues.
And they appreciate the rules, they appreciate policies. Because to make a good members of Parliament, in my honest view, one, you must first of all understand the perimeters within which you work. Those are the rules of procedure. Two, you must have capacity to appreciate policy. And then three, you must also be able to negotiate. Parliament is about negotiating positions.
Yeah, but are you alive to the absurdity that you, the crop that would call the galacticos of Parliament, were booted out? So there are quite a number of underdogs in the House. So where are they learning from?
Others will come.
Yeah.
Others will come, really. Others. And let me tell you, I'm not a Muganda, I'm a Namawanga, but the Baganda say, awakule nnume tewakulemu. Others will come. And they'll come and they'll do well. Give them that benefit. They'll come and they'll do well.
Well, you seem to be warming up to replace the Katuntus. But if you were to draft a legislative agenda for the 12th Parliament, what are some of the critical areas that you would never miss?
You see, Simon, if you care about a country like ours, there are those salient issues that are both persistent and contemporary that you must deal with. If you've gone almost every part of this country, I sat on the budget committee, I sat on the public accounts committee for a couple of years, and you could see vividly that, for instance, the health sector, most of it is more sick than the patients. That you go to a hospital in Moroto, and you see the state of the hospital. But you go to these other, the humbler, the lower health facilities, at the sub-county, at the parish level, the health center 2s and 3s. You realize that most of them, even with the new buildings, what we have largely are the structures and a few medical personnel. So you must focus on establishing a national insurance, health insurance scheme.
I thought the political question of the day is transition, which is being peddled by Mao and others. Don't you think it should top the agenda?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, that's another very, very, very critical issue. Because, again, everyone has been saying, look, we've had more or less a one-party state for such a long time. And so isn't it probably the time to discuss the transition? And if this transition has to happen, should it happen in a manner that indeed captures the views of Ugandans by giving opportunity to these members of parliament who largely represent the country? So we have the question of transition. We have the question of the health insurance scheme. We have the question of dealing with unemployment. I can tell you for certainty that unless this country addresses the issue of unemployment, we have a real crisis in a very, very short period.
So what kind of slate, on which slate is the 12th Parliament beginning?
I hope, again, the leadership, I hope, of Parliament will give us the opportunity to give our feed-in into what will constitute our legislative agenda. For me, representing the Pofontonga municipality, I would want to see Ugandans, for the first time, establish a national health insurance scheme. Because I know for sure the money, the suffering, the absurdity that Ugandans go through day in, day out. When you go into these hospitals, when you go into these campaigns and you hear how people really speak about this, when you go for burials and you hear people speak about this, you realize that this must be addressed finally. So we need to pick at least 3 or 4 issues, address them, and then people will know that maybe the 12th Parliament was keen. It delivered on health insurance scheme. It delivered on unemployment. I mean, think about it. Isn't it? Why should we be celebrating that the senior 4 graduate is baking cake? That should be probably be done at primary level. That we need to re-engineer, reorganize, refocus our education system so that we create these real jobs here, that we depart from this so much talk for so many years. Wow. And people begin seeing, we begin seeing deliverables. We see deliverables, we see change, we see transformative change. That's what people have been hoping to do.
I want to bring in Honorable Dombo. Honorable, why is NRM shying away from taking an audit of the recently held election?
Bwana Sikagwanjala, first and foremost, I want to correct the
Oh, goodness me.
Spirits have refused. He's probably not saying this. He's probably mean with the truth.
Mr. Njala,
yes.
You see, under a multi-party dispensation, political parties represented in Parliament should be having the question you've been asking, Honorable Dombo, the legislative agenda. The official position should have its own legislative agenda. So is the ruling government and other parties.
Yes.
Have you seen one from NRM?
No, I've not
It
yet.
has never existed.
So, at that point, all parties come and they start negotiating. And they see where they can find a middle ground on what issues. The Honorable Karanga is talking about the issue of health insurance. Very critical. If, for example, you are Alliance for National Transformation, and that is your priority as a political party, how do you negotiate with the NRM, which is the ruling power, and you actualize the national health insurance? And then, you see, the opposition, and that's where the biggest problem we have, sometimes they talk at government. They don't talk to. Parliament is about talking to each other, trying to convince each other for the common good of the country. I said, can we now rise beyond partisanship? And the issue of health insurance affects a national inter-platform supporter equally like a national resistance movement or Alliance for National Transformation supporter. All of us, what is good in the health sector is good for all of us. So that is an issue which should be negotiated between colleagues, members of parliament.
Without political party lines.
Without partisanship.
Well, thank you very much.
But you need an agenda.
I'm glad Honorable Dombo's network is back. Honorable, the issue of the agenda remains a big contention. Has NRM ever drafted a legislative agenda, or you're just doing things knee-jerk?
NRM Katundu has just told you that they have made laws. If you enter the Parliament of Uganda, they have passed over 200 bills. So over 200 bills cannot be by knee-jerk. I told you that the legislative agenda of a government is highlighted on the first day the president opens up the parliamentary session through the State of the Nation address. He sets the legislative agenda through that discussion. The items give the number of bills and they name them that will be brought. Then they are followed by the budget, which is the biggest legislation of the year, because the budget is a law, including the relevant tax bills that accompany the revenue and expenditure of a country. Then finally, there may be subsequent legislations coming out from the government of Uganda through the cabinet or through the agencies of government. Or some of the legislation may be through borrowing money to fund the budget. So nobody should mislead the people that Uganda, we don't have a legislative agenda. We have it. Honorable Katundu has told you the oil, what they did, what they gained, and what they didn't.
The State of the Nation address is soon about to come. Can he really even tell us what the president has told the NRM MPs, what is going to be in his State of the Nation address? Can he tell us what is going to be in his State of the Nation address in the third year, which is told the members of parliament? This is what they are asking you.
Is that the same question that you have for them?
It is what they are asking him. Tell the Ugandans the legislative agenda of NRM.
Perhaps I need to put
in the first year, in the second year, in the third year, and in the fourth year, in the 5 years.
Honorable Katundu, yes.
I think the Honorable Dombo is not getting the question. By the time the president comes with the legislative agenda during the State of the Nation address, they have discussed it internally. Because that's the final.
It's not a surprise package.
It isn't. Because you see, members should be able to contribute. By now, the proposal should be there, and Honorable Domba and colleagues should be discussing it, such that by the time the president addresses the country on the state, during the state, what we call a SONA, State of the Nation address, they have had an input. Because this is what consultation is all about.
By the way, the State of the Nation address is picked from the manifesto.
Honorable Dombo is going to respond to all of you.
Just a comment. I think we are discussing a planning issue here.
Yes.
What we see in the legislative agenda for the last 5 years is piecemeal. I think your question is, as a party, do we have a long-term 5-year, it could be a draft, 5-year legislative agenda,
Yes.
which then informs the yearly legislative agenda, which can be reviewed and presented to
You know
the
why we are
council.
putting
You want
you
to
on the
shift-
spotlight?
you- okay.
Planning issue.
There is an
Let's hear
NRM manifesto.
let's
It
hear
is
from
already
Honorable
known.
Gerald.
Why is it that we do not know the agenda in that NRM
So
manifesto?
let's take it to
What
a...
must not, I think what you people in Chankwanzi must not miss are the views, the concerns Ugandans have raised during these campaigns. Because you see, you have an opportunity that immediately after this process, now you are convening to draw the agenda for the 5 years that you'd want to see run this country as the main or the majority party. We've just seen a crisis where, in the process of trying to clean the towns, we've kicked out most of the humbler young men, young women, old women, who have been trying to earn something
Who
small.
received the PDM?
Now, these people, most of them have small loans. So you would want to see these fellows say, look, we have an issue. Can we, for instance, expand the small business fund and increase this fund?
Honorable
increase this fund so that...
your plate is full. Over to you, sir.
He needs to address these issues. You need to hear Ugandans out through these members.
Sure. Okay, let's allow him to respond.
Bwana Kagwanjala, I was in the parliament for 20 years. I have seen what happens in America, what happens in the UK, and what happens in modern legislations. I appeal to my brothers, let them teach the people, or the public, what exactly happens. We have perspective in the manifesto. The other accompanying documents like the development plan. The legislative agenda is derived from the plans that we have, but the real document of the legislative agenda is given by the head of state through the SONA. In that SONA, the president even comes out with the bills.
How is it generated, Honorable Dombo? How is it generated and who generates it?
And Honorable
The ministers,
Yes.
If you really care about Ugandans, which I believe you do, really, don't you want to hear out these members and ask them, look, what were the salient issues? What really pained Ugandans during these campaigns? Can that constitute what will be our legislative agenda as a party? Don't you want to focus on that?
Continue. You may continue, Honorable Dombo.
No, he is still believing in that
I
surprise.
mean, instead of cooling off, having a
things.
cool off and
Let's allow him to
interaction
respond. Let's allow him to respond. Yes.
as you know, that the rules of parliament prevent speculation. We cannot speculate during legislation. Government can initiate a bill, they go to cabinet. Once the bill has been generated, it can be brought to the caucus of the party and then it is discussed.
Hearing out representatives cannot be speculation. Hearing out representatives of the people cannot be speculation.
The expressions of government, we already have them in the manifesto, in the development plan, and the other documents that form what government intends to do. But when it comes to what we want to make law, we then come, the ministers of cabinet will go to cabinet, generate a cabinet paper, and once that cabinet paper is formed into a bill, that bill can come to the caucus of parliament
but
for members to discuss. It's not the other way around.
Honorable Dombo, is it in error that among the objects of this retreat, you have somewhere something to do with the legislative agenda? So what are you discussing?
You see that
Cooling off, maybe.
Unless you want us to discuss what you think. We have published what we are discussing. We have just given the papers what we are discussing. The head of state came and addressed and was live on the media on what we are discussing. We are looking at the priorities of government, including the priorities of the budget. Why should members of parliament go and support the budget? What are the priorities of government? All these have been discussed and they constitute part of the legislative agenda derived from the manifesto of the party.
So are you just going to impose a legislative agenda onto the MPs without them processing it?
And maybe I may add,
How are bills generated?
you need to hear out these members. You see, members of parliament are going to pass these loans, for instance, because no international body or even a local body is going to lend any money to government without a decision of parliament. Now, why don't you want to ask these members of parliament the real concerns of the people, so that as you draw your legislative agenda, you appreciate that even when we are passing these loans, these are the priorities. For instance, people need markets in these urban centers.
Well,
or tax back.
Let's ask him a very simple question. Can he tell us the cost of the NR manifesto? Tell the Ugandans the cost of that book, which you have, such that in the 5 years, Ugandans can expect, because you have to raise the money for the tax.
We are talking to the MPs elect. The members of parliament are there in the studio. What are they discussing? Why don't they go ahead to discuss those issues? They're asking me. For that we're inducting new members of parliament.
Because you're going for
No, I'm not part of the retreat, sir. I am going to my farm, and I'm only asking you the 5 years of that manifesto. What is the cost of that document you have handed over to the members of parliament? You refuse to disclose the laws that are going to come each year in the 5 years. You refuse to disclose it. At least tell us the cost of that manifesto.
That is not how things are done.
Hey,
this document is going to be costed every year. There is the medium term, there is the longer term, but every year.
So each year you write a manifesto.
Honorable Dombo, what are these MP elects doing in Chankwanzi?
They are being inducted.
I told you.
Induction, what are you inducting them on?
And what will Parliament do as a representation?
On the rules of procedure, on how Parliament does its work, on the priorities of government, and other issues that have been, outlined in the program of induction.
Okay.
I think Simon, on this one.
Is this induction or misinduction?
It is.
I think the Honorable Emmanuel Dombo has taken a debate purely as a debate. I thought he would be having a conversation where he can enrich his process and he picks ideas from us. In the US, elections are held almost 3 months before the new term comes in. And once a president has been elected, he is there as the head of state, he has all the powers, but he consults the president-elect, literally major on the bigger decisions. Today, we are a parliament in transition. The members-elect have got a right, really, to influence what this current parliament is doing. And the outgoing. The outgoing.
Right.
And one of the opportunities they have is this one. Because one, we are going to decide on the budget, which they are going to run on for the whole year, effective June. Here they have a right and an opportunity to say, you people, you are going to do this. We don't want to reach there and try to change what you guys have done. You have to work together. So to say, look, it is this current parliament doing that, these ones will come in until, I think that is wrong. So my own view, Mr. Njala, is for Emmanuel to appreciate that the members elect in Chankwan should have got a big responsibility. One, and an obligation to know what is going on and also to make a contribution during this time when the current parliament still has the powers, especially in the process of the budget, because we are going to allocate resources.
Well, as we take a break, how do you view Chankwanzi in the construct of parliament? Is it disruptive or constructive?
It should be complementary. In my view, it should be complementary.
Yeah, but over the years,
it has had its own challenges, I must say, because the most controversial decisions have been taken in Parliament. Sorry, in Chankwas, or they have originated in Chankwas. Once they have been endorsed in Chankwas, Parliament has sort of
Rubber stamped.
endorsed them. And that's where the problem is.
I'll ask the same question.
However, in my view, all parties in Parliament should have an opportunity to caucus, to retreat, to reflect over business. They are going to get involved, and Chankwas should be an opportunity. The only thing I don't agree with, that Chankwas should just remain the ruling party, you know, for all parties should have an opportunity.
In a minute, as we prepare to take a break, do you find Chankwanzi disruptive or constructive towards Parliament?
You know, we have the NRM caucus, and they can be even taken to the conference center of the president's office here and given that orientation. Taking them to a place that is similar to a military organization, because when you go there, the people you find on the quarter guard are army men. They direct you where to. Actually, they send you in buses. For us, we refused that thing, but nevertheless, they would tell us where to park, and we would park very far. Then to leave for any engagement, you must get a special permission. That type of an environment, with already what I have told you. My first experience there, I was very innocent. I knew I had come to make a contribution. Little did I know that I had come to be coerced into a particular direction.
Thank you.
Not in the direction of the people of Buyaga West.
Do you find Chankwanzi constructive or disruptive?
I think Chankwanzi and any other retreats for any other institution should be an informative kind of approach that enriches the participants to be able to constructively and actively participate in whatever space that they are. And so for me, it's really informative, it's necessary, and as my colleagues have said, all other parties, all institutions should always have a retreat.
No, without should. Is Chankwanzi
yes, I
disruptive
find
or constructive?
it is very informative and very constructive, if you want me to use your
What
words.
do you think of Chankwanzi?
Chankwanzi, ordinary, I think it has emerged to be a center of controversies. Ordinary would have imagined that in the spirit of institutional building parties is one of the most critical aspects of democracy, because then parties begin giving the very goodness that they have internally to the nation. Now, when we increasingly and sadly consistently make these engagements that are happening, for instance, what's transpiring in Chankwas right now, we make them more or less a center of trivial issues, controversies, and now Honorable Dombo says, oh, this is a time for cooling off, to know each other, and for heaven's sake, Ugandans have very depressing challenges.
Thank you very much, Bwana Kagwanjala. I know we are coming towards the end of this program, but I want the public to appreciate that we are not taking the new members of parliament through a marathon. They have a whole 5 years through which to be engaging with the party in order to appreciate the issues from their constituencies, to integrate them together with the national policies, and also turn them into plans through the national budgets. This is a process of transition. We have an outgoing parliament that is going to pass the current budget. And we have a coming parliament that will be supervising and overseeing government in the implementation of the budget, even when they have not been involved through the budget-making process. Progressively, the new members of parliament will be brought on board to understand how budgets are generated. That's one of the things they look through today. To understand how the oversight is done, and also to do a midterm review. Immediately, this budget is done, but they will also begin with the policy statements of the ministries, which are going to be produced, and many members of parliament will have an opportunity to go through. This transition will enable them to appreciate, even when we have the outgoing ones going. So, we don't want to blame now, but for us as a party, it was our responsibility to bring them, prepare them, and indicate to them what they are likely to go through. The members of parliament are going to go through the official induction for a full week by the Parliament of Uganda. The clerk to parliament already gave them that program, which they are going to follow soon after they have done all this. After they have done that, they are going to constitute parliament, convene parliament, and the first business is going to be the election of the speaker and deputy speaker. Once that one is done, they are also going to elect the committees of parliament. Once those committees are done, they will be inducted even through their committees to appreciate what is supposed to be done. And we believe when they are perhaps 1 year in parliament, they will be ready to go through the marathon that people want them to do. But I want to tell you that once as a party, we are very satisfied with what we have done. We thank the national chairman who enabled and got us resources to do this exercise, which we are supposed to do to our and visit NRM induction and retreats if they can be invited, for them to appreciate the business that takes place. Honorable Mao has been our guest. He should be able to go and tell the other parties from the opposition what exactly happens in Changwanzi, what business is supposed to be done, and we believe that the priorities of government which were given by His Excellency, the President, that are going to be given by the Minister for Finance and any other officials from government who have been invited, they are going to form a very strong basis for members of parliament to begin their business on a positive note.
What are the chances? Because there is already this sense of premonition that probably Changwanzi could deliver another controversial decision from NRM this time.
There is no decision whatsoever that is going to be taken about the elections, about who must be elected. The national chairman guided that once the members of parliament have been sworn in and they are ready to do the job, he's going to convene the organs of the party in order to take them through his thinking and the decision of the Central Executive Committee.
Thank you.
Then only then that the national chairman is going to guide and tell the members on what they are supposed to do, and they're also giving their views as and when it becomes necessary.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dombo. I must let you off, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Honorable Tinka, in just a couple of minutes, what are your hopes and fears in the coming days as the retreat continues?
Certainly, the organizer, now he has actually said President Museveni is the sponsor.
Not the party? He's the chairman of the NRM.
He's thanking him for finding the resources. The resources, I don't think that it is coming from these small contributions we have been making of 200,000 per month. Because we exhausted that. We paid the flag bearers some money. This must be coming from somewhere. So this sponsor has an agenda. He wants to achieve in Changwanzi. It is what I am fearing.
Do you see anything good
The
or bad
three
on the
things I
horizon?
told you about, either somebody coming up and saying, we have spoken to God, President Museveni should continue living up to when humanly it is not possible, and continue being a head of state. Two, in the circumstances that it is not possible, then his son should come. I am expecting it. And then the issue of even if he's evading it, the issue of the speaker. Because what is going on down there, even when we are not there, we know what is going on. We have relatives who are handling these people. They are telling us what is being discussed. What is being discussed is not what is in class.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Katuntu, any hopes or fears in the coming days?
No, the issue of the speaker is quite critical. It may not be on the agenda, but I think now that all these MPs are together, and they're the biggest caucus,
There's lobbying, eh?
There's lobbying, and I think it's now the hottest political potato going on and so on. Of course, the Onomao has thrown a spanner in the works by even walking in there to give his own analogy of being a visitor invited by the father, and then you start quarreling with the kids on which bed you also want to sleep on. So they are going to have a lot of
and
that.
on the other
and so
side, they are telling him he's
he's
going
a
overboard. He's entering the bedroom.
Yes, and he's like, no, I am here after all. So, yeah, but I think that issue is there. Though, from what I read, he seems to be a minority voice then, as of now. The incumbents still are far ahead of him.
Things could flip.
Well, it's possible in politics, but as of now, the incumbents seem to be far ahead of him. But the most important thing is you cannot be a political party and you just walk into parliament without coming together. Caucus in itself, we need to look at it positively. People coming together and say, look, what are we going to do? Who are you?
Yeah,
You
but
know,
why the
that we
cynicism?
need.
Why the cynicism?
That's the question. Why the cynicism is because Ugandans really they have lost confidence in us, the political class. Every time people come together, they think we are conspiring, and so on. So
Because that's what normally comes out.
so we
conspiracy against the people.
So we need now to do an introspection. How do we clean up and give our people confidence that when we come here, it's for the good of the country, it's for the good of the party? Because from the debate going on, including on this particular show, you could see that there's some conspiracy. There is a conspiracy. And if there is no conspiracy, we shall create one. That's the problem. So, one, MPs, and I encourage all political parties, the National Unity Platform actually was the first. You remember they went to somewhere, is it Busabala?
Yes, they want to be served.
Yeah, they went there. Unfortunately, the debate wasn't as hot as it is today.
It was just a day.
The Democratic Party is in trouble because the president is this side,
And he's putting on the tag of NRM.
and then the members are the other side.
Yeah, because they're in a sort of a marriage.
And, no, who is in sort of a marriage?
DP and NRM. So
Is it
maybe
so,
he's representing.
Okay, why aren't the members of elect of DP in Chankwan's? It is on the president. And it has been a little bit difficult for us who've been seated, and then you see the president is seated on the other side, then his members are seated on the opposite. I don't know whether you see the very difficult position. You stand up, you are part of government, and your own members are part of the opposition.
Honorable Agnes, do you share any fears or hopes in Chankwan's over the coming days?
I'm also a very optimistic person. And I hope that this 1 week in Chankwanzi lays a good foundation. And hopefully, the members of parliament there takes advantage to understand the critical areas of the NRM party and the key thematic things that the party is going to look at. Particularly, I hope that they really understand the message on the economy that the president is talking about. The issue of mobilizing the citizens of this country to be in the market economy. The issue of making the citizens of this country productive and be able to sell a good or a service. The issue of affordable access to capital. PDM is little and it has all its flaws and all that. But if my hope is that members of parliament understand that particular direction, or but my fears though, I have this fear that I hope that members of parliament do not have very high expectations of how they are going to change everything, because we have been there. And I fear that they need to seriously think how they are going to translate some of these big, the manifesto, the NDP3, the budget, into results that puts money in the pocket of our people, provide the medicine, have the teachers in the classroom and all. That is really my biggest fear.
Thank you. Honorable Karuhanga, what are your fears? Do you have any hopes anyway?
Well, I hope that they could focus on deliverables for the 12th Parliament, that probably for the first time this nation can see a national health insurance scheme, but probably the issue of unemployment can be strongly and seriously addressed. And all these other issues that are really, really concerning or impacting on Ugandans. My concern, though, reading what we are seeing, it will just be very disheartening again to Ugandans. Having had an opportunity to interact with the leaders they have elected for months, hoping that maybe this time round there can be some more focus on issues that really, really disturb them. If this continues, then we may see a prevalent clutter of engagement for another maybe 1 week. Resources and time probably wasted. But we just hope that this engagement we've had today and other engagements Ugandans are doing on social media.
Have the first 3 days thrown you any signals?
The first 3 days so far seem to be saying that they are here, there, and largely almost doing what we are going to be doing during orientation in Parliament. So, and I'm saying, look, I thought the party would be focused on what the citizens or members of the party are concerned about right now, that they really highlighted during campaigns. So right now, I'm beginning to see that, I mean, if you go through what exactly Parliament is going to do, then isn't that a lost opportunity for building on our democracy that we would love to see as a country?
Pleasure having all of you, ladies and gentlemen, honorable legislators, and definitely